nightly business report.
Good evening. Tonight, according to the annual economic review of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, credit to the private sector by LCBs rose by 789.6 billion rupees, recording an year-on-year growth of 10.7%. The SheTrades Sri Lanka Hub web page was launched recently to empower women-led businesses and integrate them into global trade. The CSC continues to be on the up as both the SPI and the S&P SL20 closed in the green. And at Wall Street, an unexpected jump in consumer confidence occurs following Trump's latest tariff respite. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Credit to the private sector by LCBS rose by 789.6 billion rupees, recording a year-on-year growth of 10.7% by December last year, according to the annual economic review of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
Private sector credit extended by licensed commercial banks rebounded in 2024 after a contraction at the end of 2023. This shift followed monetary policy adjustments and shifts in market liquidity that lowered borrowing costs. Credit to the private sector marked a reversal of the 1.0% contraction recorded at the end of 2023 via the annual economic review. CBSL Economic Research Director Dr. S. Jagajeevan at the public lecture said that there was a notable expansion during 2024, with a 10.7% growth in private sector and around 790 billion worth of credit extended by the banking sector to the private sector.
A government statement said that Sri Lanka's Cabinet of Ministers has awarded a contract to supply 5 shipments of diesel from 1st of June to 30th November to Singapore's M&S Trafigura Pte Limited. Now, bids were invited from registered suppliers of Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and 7 bidders submitted bids. After evaluating the bids, the Cabinet approved the proposal to award the procurement to Singapore's M&S Trafigura Pte Limited as recommended by its procurement committee. The SheTrades Sri Lanka Hub web page under the UK government-funded SheTrades Commonwealth Plus program framework was launched recently to empower women-led businesses and integrate them into global trade.
SheTrades, a global initiative of the International Trade Centre, is supported by the Sri Lanka Export Development Board. UK's trade envoy to Sri Lanka, Lord Hannett of Everton, said at the launch that it was a pleasure to celebrate the launch of the SheTrades Sri Lanka Hub web page, an excellent resource which forms part of the wider ecosystem of support available to women entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka. The newly launched SheTrades Sri Lanka Hub webpage is accessible at www.srilankabusiness.com. The EDB asked all registered women-led business in Sri Lanka to register through the platform to connect with export opportunities, gain market exposure and benefit from tailored support. SheTrades aim to connect 3 million women entrepreneurs to international markets by providing access to business tools, training, mentoring, B2B opportunities and policy advocacy.
Sri Lankan exporters engaged in trade activities in Japan state that if the telegraphic transfer system is introduced instead of letters of credit making payments for goods imported from Sri Lanka from Japan, it will benefit the Sri Lankan community.
They say that if this system can be introduced at least for agricultural machinery exported to Sri Lanka from Japan, it will be directly beneficial for the agricultural community and will help create an agricultural innovation. The exporters added that currently many countries in the world are making payments through TT instead of LC when making payments for all exports from Japan, including vehicles and machinery. They also emphasize that this has the potential to make the entire export process more efficient by about 30%. Executive member of the Sri Lankan Exporters Forum representing Sri Lankan exporters living in Japan, Kirinde Lianarachi, said they would appreciate it if the Sri Lankan government, at least in the initial round, allows payment through TT for agricultural machinery, including tractors and hand tractors. This will not only make the import process in Sri Lanka easier, but will also directly benefit the Sri Lankan community by making it more efficient. He had added that many countries, including Australia, Canada and New Zealand, currently use the TT method in the import process.
Let's take a short commercial break. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. The Colombo Stock Exchange closed with gains today, continuing yesterday's closing numbers. With the SPI rising to 16,712 points and the S&P SL20 also gaining, market activity total share volume was 208,049,843 shares traded, generating a turnover of approximately 4.2 billion rupees. And for further insights on today's performance, we now connect with Salama Sanoon joining us from First Capital Holding.
The Colombo Stock Exchange continued its upward trajectory with the all-share price index gaining 55 points to close at 16,713. A similar positive movement was seen in the S&P SL20, which recorded a gain of 10 points. The ASPI started with a small drop in early trading, but it bounced back in the middle of the session and ended the day strong. The upward move was driven by strong performance from banking sector and blue-chip stocks. Investor sentiment remained broadly positive, supported by active participation from both high net worth and retail investors. The top three gainers for the day were Hemas Holdings, Commercial Bank and Aitken Spence plc, whereas the top three losers for today were John Keells Holdings, Ceylon Tobacco Company and Cargill Ceylon. Market turnover amounted to 4.3 billion rupees, marking a 14% increase over the monthly average. The capital goods sector led the market in terms of turnover with a contribution of 26%, while the banking and food, beverage and tobacco sectors collectively accounted for 32%. Foreign investors turned net sellers, registering a net outflow of 163 million rupees. Thank you.
Sri Lanka's latest treasury bill and bond auctions concluded with drops in yields across all maturities. And for further insights on that, we now connect with Manusha Kandanarachi from First Capital Holdings.
Today, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka concluded its weekly treasury bill auction, where the initially offered amount was fully raised amid reduction of weighted average yield rates in line with the overnight policy rate cut and higher liquidity levels in the market. So only 19.2 billion rupees were raised out of the total offered amount of 25 billion rupees in terms of the 3-month treasury bill as well. And the weighted average rate for the 3-month maturity reduced to 7.55% with a 10 basis point reduction. In terms of the 6-month bill, a total of 50 billion rupees was raised on par with the initially offered amount as well. The weighted average yield rate for the 6-month bill fell by 20 basis points to 7.77% as well. Finally, 93.3 billion rupees were raised through the 1-year treasury bill, which had an initial offering of 87.5 billion rupees. For this maturity, also the weighted average yield fell by 31 basis points to 7.98%. So all in all, a total of 162.5 billion rupees was raised in this auction, as weighted average yield for all maturities fell across the board. Thank you.
Gold prices fell in Asian trade today, remaining under pressure from improved risk appetite after US President Donald Trump postponed plans to impose steep trade tariffs on the European Union. Spot gold steadied at $3,301.96 an ounce, while gold futures for August rose 0.1% to $3,331.91 an ounce. Gold and broader metals were also pressured by a mild recovery in the dollar, which came amid some signs of stability in the treasury market. But bullion still remained relatively underpinned by certainty about the US trade and fiscal health, with focus on more US trade deals and the progress of a divisive tax cut backed by Trump. Meanwhile, oil prices rose in Asian trading as concerns over potential new sanctions on Russia and stalled progress in the US-Iran nuclear negotiations raised some supply disruptions fears, while investors were cautious ahead of a pivotal OPEC Plus meeting later this week as well. Brent oil futures expiring in July rose 0.7% to $64.54 an ounce, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures also jumped 0.7% to $61.33 per barrel. Higher prices were also attributable to the US decision to prohibit Chevron from exporting crude from Venezuela under a new asset authorization, increasing concerns over tighter supply. The Sri Lankan rupee has depreciated further against the US dollar today, and according to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the buying rate of the US dollar has increased while the selling rate has also increased. However, Sri Lankan rupee has appreciated against a basket of foreign currencies while it has depreciated against Gulf currencies. Let's take a look at how the rupee is fared against other global currencies today. Short break now. This is the nightly business report. Welcome back to the nightly business report. Chinese EV giant BYD recently announced price cuts but confirmed these discounts apply only to the domestic market, excluding international markets like Sri Lanka.
BYD Asia Pacific Auto Sales Division General Manager Liu Zhuoling clarified the recent price cuts apply only to the Chinese market. These discounts were introduced to boost consumer spending during China's shopping season, a time of widespread promotions. BYD reduced prices on 22 electric and plug-in hybrid models with offers valid until the end of June. This move is a part of a large price war among automakers in China's competitive EV market. Weak consumer demand and economic challenges have led several manufacturers to lower retail prices. Despite these efforts, vehicle inventory at dealership reached a record high of 3.5 million units last month. Among the biggest cuts, BYD's Seagull hatchback dropped 20% to 50,800 yuan, and the Seal sedan was reduced by 34% to 102,800 yuan. BYD has confirmed these price reductions to not apply to international markets, including Sri Lanka.
Ceylon Bank stands to support the third consecutive National Industry Expo 2025 organized by the Ministry of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development and Industrial Development Board. The event is scheduled to take place from the 19th of June to the 22nd of June at the Bandaranayake Memorial International Conference Hall. Aimed at highlighting and strengthening the position of Sri Lanka's industrial sector, the event will also foster market integration, technological advancement and collaboration, demonstrating the bank with the heart's ability and a role as a catalyst for the full growth. Keeping to this year's theme of driving Sri Lanka's industrial growth in untapped market opportunities, the event will offer tailored financial solutions for small and medium enterprises, and additionally, the event will facilitate the exchange of ideas and solutions capable of unblocking potential and accelerating the nation's economic growth. John Keells Holdings posted a 12% recurring EBITDA growth to 50.43 billion rupees in the financial year 24-25, excluding City of Dreams costs driven by Cinnamon Life Hotel and Colombo Port Terminal progress.
John Keells Holdings Group recurring profit before tax excluding City of Dreams Sri Lanka surged 60% to 22.93 billion rupees. City of Dreams Sri Lanka's largest integrated resort impacted EBITDA with pre-ordering costs for remaining on track for an August 2025 opening. Colombo's first automated deep water terminal, WCT 1, began commercial operations in the final quarter, with early throughout volumes showing promise. The retail sector drove profitability with a 25% rise in recurring EBITDA, supporting by 14.2% growth in supermarket same-store sales. Consumer foods EBITDA jumped 34%, boosted by volume growth in beverages and confectionery. Financial services saw a 17% EBITDA increase, led by loan growth at Nations Trust Bank and high premiums at Union Assurance. John Kill Holdings property segment returned to profitability with 1.44 billion rupees in EBITDA, aided by sales at Cinnamon Life and Viman. The new energy vehicle business under John Kill CG Auto recorded strong bookings with the BYD range exceeding expectations.
People's Leasing and Finance PLC and Microclass Private Limited announced the signing of Memorandum of Understanding recently. This collaboration is set to provide convenient, accessible leasing facilities for customers seeking to acquire micro business.
The partnership aims to support individuals and organizations looking to expand their transportation fleets, offering tailored financial solutions for the purchase of microbuses. This initiative is expected to boost the public and private sectors, providing a more streamlined and affordable path to vehicle ownership. The MOU was signed at a ceremony held in People's Leasing Head Office, attended by senior management from both organizations. Representing People's Leasing and Finance PLC were Sanjeeva Bandaranaike, General Manager, Chief Executive Officer, and Udesh Gunawardana, Chief Operating Officer, while Microclass Private Limited was represented by Asela Lihini Kanduwa, Group Director, and Ravika Pereira, Director. Speaking at the signing ceremony, representatives from both companies expressed enthusiasm for the new venture. Sanjeev Bandaranaike, Chief Executive Officer, General Manager of People's Leasing and Finance PLC, stated that this MOU strengthens their commitment to empowering businesses and entrepreneurs by making quality transportation solutions more accessible.
Demonstrating strong market confidence, Singer Finance Lanka PLC has successfully secured 2 billion rupees through a fully subscribed insurance of subordinated debt trust certificates. The transaction was expertly led by HNB Investment Bank and Serendip Frontier Capital, who jointly served as advisors and managers to the transaction, bringing structuring excellence and executional strength to the strategic capital raise. Crafted through a tailored trust structure, the offering saw high demand from institutional and high net worth investors, resulting in full subscription with an accelerated placement window. The overwhelming response from investors reflects trust in Surge Finance long-term vision and their sound financial stewardship. The combined market insight, technical precision, and investor alignment enabled the placement to successfully achieve its full predetermined capital raise. Kavini Disanayaka, the CEO of Serendip Frontier Capital, added that they are proud to have brought their structuring expertise and capital market experience to support Singer Finance in this successful issuance. Ambient Holdings PLC, a leading diversified conglomerate with key business interests across information technology, financial services, real estate and strategic investments, has announced its interim financial results for the financial year 2024-25, and the results reflect a resilient performance and sustained strategic progress amidst ongoing challenges in a recovering macroeconomic environment. The group reported a profit after tax of 1,910 million rupees for the year, demonstrating its ability to navigate market challenges and maintain steady performance. While this represents a decrease of 947 million rupees compared to the previous financial year, largely attributed to one-off gains recognized last year, including the disposal gain from the divestiture of 51% stake in Dankotua Porcelain PLC during FY 2023-24. Commenting on the performance, Mr. Sujiva Mudaligi, who is the chairman of Ambient Holdings PLC, stated that given the market challenges faced during the year, the group delivered a commendable performance demonstrating strength and resilience and operational discipline across all businesses. Let's take a short commercial break. Global business updates coming on the other side. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Most Asian stocks advanced following a strong overnight rally on Wall Street as investors welcome President Trump's delay on proposed tariffs on euro. Japan's Nikkei 225 rose 0.6%, while South Korea's Kospi surged 1.8% to a 9-month high, led by robust gains in tech shares. Chipmakers rallied, with Japan's Advantest climbing 2.2% and South Korea's SK Hynix and Samsung Electronics rising 2.7% and 3.3% respectively. In Taiwan, the TSMC and Hong Hai position gained around 0.5% each. However, Chinese markets underperformed, with the CSI 300 and Shanghai Composite edging lower. Hong Kong's Hang Seng also dipped 0.3%, bucking the regional trend. Wall Street surged as investor risk appetite was buoyed by US President Donald Trump's latest tariff despite an unexpected jump in consumer confidence.
Wall Street surged on Tuesday with the Dow adding 1.75%, the S&P 500 climbing 2%, and the Nasdaq rising about 2.5%. Investor risk appetite was buoyed by U.S. President Donald Trump's latest tariff respite and an unexpected jump in consumer confidence. In his latest move, Trump backed down from his 50% tariff threat against the European Union and restored a July 9th deadline to allow time for negotiations. On the economic front, a surge in current month consumer confidence added momentum to Tuesday's rally. Airlines and mega-cap tech-related growth stocks were the clear outperformers. That includes NVIDIA, as the AI powerhouse closed more than 3% higher one day before it reports quarterly results. While shares of Temu parent PDD Holdings dropped more than 13.5% after reporting a 47% fall in first quarter profit and missing quarterly revenue estimates. Tuesday's other laggards included VeriSign and AutoZone, with shares of each shedding about 3.5%.
China's Xiaomi reported record first quarter revenue and profit as the company's ongoing shift towards higher-end products from smartphones seemed to be paying off.
Xiaomi reported record first quarter revenue and profit on Tuesday. The Chinese tech giant said its shift towards higher-end products from smartphones to home appliances was paying off. Revenue for the quarter hit just under $15.5 billion, up almost half year-on-year and above analyst projections. Adjusted net profit also jumped above $1.38 billion for the first time, and it was up 65% on the year. Xiaomi is the world's third largest smartphone maker and saw shipments rise 3% from a year earlier. The firm also makes cars and announced its latest electric SUV last week. It aims to start selling in July. Its EV business generated more than $2.5 billion in revenue during the first quarter, but analysts said new EV orders fell after a fatal highway crash at the end of March involving an SU7 in driving assistance mode. Its problems have been made worse by customer complaints of false advertising. However, the company's shares have rebounded since April.
That wraps up today's nightly business report. Well, we value your opinion, share your thoughts and feedback with us through email at feedback.at24english@derana.lk or via WhatsApp at 076 805 7933. We will see you again tomorrow with the latest updates in the business world. Until then, I'm Vinod Manasuriya. Thank you for watching and have a good night.